The following video was recorded on location in my state-of-the-art office in the corner of my first floor apartment. If you like what you're about to hear, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell in the upper right corner.
Yeah, I'm here. Let's do it.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. As a tremendous fan of all the work that you've done over the years, it's fantastic to be able to talk to you about your brand new Best Of compilation coming out next Friday through Spinefarm.
Cool, yeah.
So how did this compilation come to be?
How did this compilation come to be? Well, since it's been 30 years since the release of my first solo album, Nights Are So Long, we figured it was a good time to put together a Best Of compilation because there's never been one by Michael Monroe, and there's stuff like, you know, the Demolition 23 album has not been available since it was released in like 94. Therefore, there's 4 songs of that album there, but mostly it's like about 2 songs per album for all my solo albums. The first CD, there's 2 CDs. First one is the older stuff, and the second one is the last 3 albums that I made with my current band. But there's like 3 songs of each of those albums, and also the new single "One Foot Out of the Grave" and some other bonus tracks. Fistful of Dynamite, Simple Town with outtakes from the Blackout States album sessions, and Get On was a bonus track on Horns and Halos. They only came out in Japan before. And the collaboration with Slash, I did that song Magic Carpet Ride, the other version that was never released, that's on there. And a duet with Steve Bader's It's a Lie that we did in '85. But that is a better version than what ended up on the Nights Are So Long album, because Steve was singing it with me, and on the album I did it by myself. But I thought it was it's a good idea to put this out now, and since it's been 30 years, and it's a good sort of if you're interested in my career and what I'm about, my music and all that, it's a great representation of what I'm about, I think, really. And 29 songs and many new ones. There's actually previously unreleased stuff. I figured it was a good time for this one now, because with my band, my current band, we got a new album half written already, but that's going to come out when the time is right. But yeah, this was a good time, I thought, for this to come out, and there's never been one like this before. So yeah, I thought it was the right time.
So with that, how hard was it for you to be able to pick out what songs were going to be featured on this compilation?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be harder than it was, actually. Once I got into it, I thought it was pretty clear to me. Except for the early stuff it was a bit harder because there were no clear singles or videos or stuff like that. With the newer stuff, it was a little bit easier because I had to pick songs that were singles and videos, or the songs that were most important and significant for me on these records. So I just made the call. I figured, what to me presented the albums and those time periods the best, and therefore also the artworks. I got a booklet with the lyrics, and every song has like a picture from that time period to go with the song. And I still like physical products. I like to have, a cover, and I like to see what I'm listening to and read the lyrics and stuff too. So, but I think it was, I was glad to be able to put out these songs. There, the original versions. There's something great about most original versions of songs, like Dead Yellow Rock and Roll, The Man with No Eyes Open, Not Faking. The Not Faking It album was probably one of the last 80s kind of production sounding albums, but it still seems to stand the test of time and still sounds fresh. And it's been remastered, so it's got more bottom now, more bottom than it's ever had before. Because that time in '89, it was like, I think it was the way they were making records back then, that there was a little less bottom for some reason. I don't know, was the grooves on the album, on the vinyl, or what? But it was just but this one now has been remastered, and it's got some it's been enhanced and stuff. So yeah, but it wasn't that hard after all.
And with that, what was it like for you when you're going through your entire discography and picking out the right songs? What do you think of your progression over the last 30 years?
Well, I think I'd like to think I've gotten better and evolved over the years. That's what I try to do, and most people tell me that the last 3 records I made are some of the best stuff of my career. In my opinion, I agree, and also think that to me it seems like the Not Faking It album and the Demolition 23 album are some of the two of the best ones from the past. But it's interesting because there's also stuff I did on my own when I moved out of New York, and I out of Manhattan straight into the middle of nowhere in the countryside in Finland at first. That's where the Peace of Mind album. I had no TV or nothing, right in the middle of the snow and chopping wood and shoveling snow, and I mean real snow, not that kind of snow. Do you think? but it was fun, and I was making these huge snowmen in my driveway, and it was a good time. It was really productive. I wrote the record during that winter, '96, but that one, I played everything myself on that except for the drums, and same with the Life Gets You Dirty album. That was a bass player and a drummer, and the rest of it I did myself, but it still sounded like a band. So it was, an interesting time. I think maybe the production wasn't as great as it could have been, but I think I've been getting better throughout the years, and certainly nothing to be ashamed of. I feel pretty good about this stuff. It's interesting. It's good retrospective and good thing to kind of like with my autobiography, which is not out in English yet. The Hanoi book is, but not the Michael Monroe book is not out, not being translated yet. But it will be before too long. But that also put things into perspective, kind of looking back on things and time periods, kind of like into place, because some of the times are kind of in a blur. But I think it was a healthy thing to do too, look at my career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say from a fan perspective, it's great being able to see the whole progression of your solo career showed off in this kind of compilation. I mean, whether it's like the newer stuff that's being showed off on the second disc, or everything throughout the early parts of your solo career with the first disc. I mean, being able to go from that start to finish and see what you've accomplished over the last 3 decades. I mean, it's really great to see how much you have gotten better and better over the years. And, like the song One Foot Out of the Grave, it feels like such a great killer song, and it's great to see that quality of music in this day and age.
Thank you. I agree, actually. Thank you. It's nice to hear. And yeah, I think the statement is good, and One Foot Out of the Grave, it's really telling it like it is these days. And we need more stuff like that to remind people what real, authentic rock and roll is supposed to be about, where it came from.
So with that in mind, is that like a good indication of what the next album is going to sound like, or is there going to be a different sound to it?
Oh, why fix it if it ain't broke? I mean, we got a great band here. I think this band is the best one I've had in my solo career. And now it's been the same band since 2010, except for the other guitar player. I mean, it's been Sammy Alpha, Steve Conte, and KROCKS, and we had Ginger Wildheart on guitar, the other guitar first, and then James Dragon. And now with Rich Jones, I think the chemistry is the best that we had so far. I like this chemistry the best of all of those, even though, with all due respect, Dragon is wonderful, and so is Ginger. They're brilliant guys, and I think the band now, it's the strongest, stronger than it's ever been, and this is a good indication of what's to come. Is like One Foot Out of the Grave. That's a new track, and that's the style. We have a sound and style, and we're gonna just keep doing that, and it'll evolve. But we're not gonna change our style, because this is what we do.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that too, because I mean that's One Foot Out of the Grave, like I said before, is just like it's great to see that style going on now, because it is really needed these days, where music can go in so many different directions that a lot of people have forgotten what good old rock and roll sounds like, and this is just a great indication of what that could still sound like.
Right, that's right. Not many people do that anymore these days. It's kind of like it's a bit hard to, people, when you don't hear it, people, whenever someone who doesn't even necessarily like rock and roll comes to our show, they just go like, I love it, having a good time, and they're digging it, digging the music, digging the melody. Because I think music needs to have melody, and to me, anyways. And now lately, the past few years, have been like a lot of artists who mainly just talk over a drum beat, and or some people that just growl, that kind of metal stuff where they're all kind of sound similar when they're not singing any melody. They're just like growling and going, this and that and Satan and devil and all that. And I think it's just repetitious and kind of boring and one-dimensional to me. And besides, there's nothing cool about Satan or death and stuff like that. I mean, if you listen to Black Sabbath, just to say that, we have to point out that their lyrics were really on the light side, about God and love and Jesus and all that, So it's a misconception, I think, that heavy metal is supposed to be about the devil. But in the rap music, I love the original, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and because they had something to say, they had some content in the lyrics, and they were really, it was about, like the punk thing, like Bob Dylan did back in the 60s, he brought the edge back to the music, and the lyrics mainly had, some cool stuff that was like telling the truth and shaking up the foundation, the establishment, and, that kind of raising questions, questioning the authorities, and, telling it like it is, and while still having a good time. It's just, you don't have to switch your brain off to have a good time, to be a deadhead, with rock and roll. To me, it's always been about being yourself, being an individual, and, thinking for yourself, and being, doing your own thing, and being free. It's about freedom of expression and everything. So it's healthy. I mean, there can't be too many rock bands around these days. I think it's only good, and I would think I love it. I love the fact that bands like the Foo Fighters, as big as they are, and I love the fact that the Guns N' Roses guys are together again with Slash and Duff, and that's because it's really important, because they're one of the greatest bands there's been, and those guys they have got the right attitude. And mind you, I just saw Cheap Trick last night in London. They were fantastic. I worship that band. They're one of the greatest bands of all time. They're right up there with the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Motorhead, ZZ Top, all the great bands of the world. We're doing our best to keep a real, authentic rock and roll alive, and honest from the heart. And that way, I would think you reach people's hearts, and people can relate. And if you have any remnants of a brain, or I would think it's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it's just like, it's good to just have some good old-fashioned hard rock and roll going on. I mean, it's just like, it's important to have melodies and harmonies and music, and there are some bands that are still keeping that strong, like you mentioned, and it's great to see like Cheap Trick is still going just as strong as they ever have. I mean, it's great to hear that you were able to see them last night, and they were able to still put on a killer show. And I expect nothing less when you're able to perform as well. I mean, when you got 30 years worth of material to be able to choose from, I mean, it's great to see that you can cover so much ground in rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, I do know a lot. I've seen and heard a lot of stuff, and being privileged to be in the position to meet and hang with people, like important people in rock, especially the rare ones like Steve Baders, for example, and Johnny Thunders, and guys like that too, who were like the unsung heroes. They're the rare ones, the special, the ones that never made it that big, but they're some of the most important people that also, back in their day, reminded me of the most important stuff to consider. And it's all about integrity, and not so much about how many million records you can sell, and how you're going to market your thing, and making a whole bunch of money and becoming a famous person. To me, it was all about if when you do your thing on your own terms, and then you create something original and great, and you'll feel good about it, and without compromising for the wrong reasons, then if you get successful, you make money or get famous, that's great. That's fine on top of that, but not just for the sake of being famous and, So the motivation has to be right. Then it's cool, you know. But the integrity comes first.
Absolutely, and I always gravitate towards that as well. I mean, it's one thing to be able to continue to make hit songs and be able to skyrocket in popularity, but if your heart's not behind the music that you're making, then it's meaningless.
Exactly, that's so right.
So what's next for you?
What's next for me is we're actually playing a show opening up for Guns N' Roses in Finland on Saturday with my band and I guess us and Darkness and Guns N' Roses. We're playing in Finland in a city about an hour's drive from Helsinki. We're touring this summer on this compilation album. We've got about 20 festivals in Finland. We're working on some dates in the UK for the end of the year, like in December or so. And we're actually in the middle of sort of rearranging our people. You know, I changed my management last summer, about a year ago. We've been building on trying to work on a different kind of group of people working for us, and in the process now. And I mean, things are looking better than before, but it's going to take a while. But all we're going to do is tour on this record now, this compilation album with the new tracks and all. And we got about at least half an album's worth of material for the next Michael Monroe album. All original new songs, which we'll record and put out when the time is right. So we're going to keep doing it with this band and try to expand our fame. Hopefully we'll get to my dream is to get on a really big tour with a couple of the coolest bands, and get some exposure in a bigger way. That would be interesting to see how people would react, because most people will see this band and really seem to light up and enjoy it, and so therefore it's everything worth doing. We're worth keeping going. And then what else am I going to do? This is what I do, and you're never going to be good enough with just good. So that keeps me hungry and keeps me trying.
Yeah, and that's definitely a great approach to have, because you never know what your best material is going to be if you already feel like that you've hit your best spots. I mean, when you always go out there and trying to make the best material that you can, it always inspires you to keep going and reach that larger fan base and be able to put out some of the best material you'll ever put out.
Yeah, it would be boring if you all of a sudden woke up one day and thought, okay, I'm good enough. I don't need to practice anymore. I don't need to try anymore. It's like, then would be meaningless to do anything. Really would be boring. And that's never going to happen. So there's always room for improvement, and always come up with some new ideas and recreate. And I think it's also very important to keep when you get a style, then stick to it, and to know what not to play as well as what to play. And because like for example, AC/DC, they would never let you down with a ballad or having some symphony orchestra or something all of a sudden on the record. You always know what to expect from them, and it's not boring. It's not repeating yourself. It's like, I think it's genius. Reinventing yourself. Like Angus Young said, people blame us for making the same record 10 times. He says it's not really true. Actually, we made it 11 times now. At the time, but that's really the best bands in the world. They have a chemistry and this magical in the sound and the style, and then from Rolling Stones to the Ramones, all these ZZ Top and Motorhead, and all the great bands have that certain kind of magic and have their own thing. Alice Cooper's had that. Alice Cooper's still out there, thank God, and he's actually going to be playing in Finland too in the end of August. All these cool people and who are friends of mine, and who I like and admire, and they're playing. They happen to be playing in Finland. Foo Fighters played a couple of weeks ago in Helsinki, and actually invited me up on stage 3 times. In 3 occasions I went to jam with them, and that was so cool. Such nice guys.